Whoop. Cat noise.
Yo.
Cat noise. Hold up.
Yo.
All right, we good.
Yo, guess who we got on the podcast today? We got Roy Tosh. He's gonna bring that to it.
Somebody please chop that up. If that's ever on YouTube, make a TikTok sound and tag us when it goes viral. Please tag Jeff Adams. Please, for the love of God, somebody do it. We must have that on TikTok.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Kingdom Influence Podcast. It's a show where we inspire, influence, and motivate listeners to rediscover God's original assignment for mankind. I'm your boy, Gus.
And I'm Jeff.
Hey! Jeff Adams in the house. And we are here today with our special, awesome guest, my boy, Roy Tosh. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's up, everyone? It's good to be here. It's good to be reunited with these two. We go way back. Literally, we were talking off camera. I'm like, Jeff and I alone over a decade. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Shot music videos with this dude back in the day with Benja. It's crazy. Feel right at home here, literally. So, it's good to be here.
Yeah, we are in your home, and we're in a beautiful. You have such a. I love coming into artist space, like where they get creative, and you just have this really nice. I mean, got a beautiful view of the lake. And you also, it must be a white rapper thing because I was a white rapper at one time, believe it or not. But
you had them bars, bro. I can see. You still rocking a beanie. Don't freestyle on me. I'm not trying to get in a battle.
I do cameos.
Don't. Okay, I got you.
On the app.
We can do that.
I can do a happy birthday shout out, $5. Yo, Roy Tosh, happy birthday, yo. It's the no name rapper from back in the day.
$350, we got a deal. Is that cool?
No, but you got all these cool things because I walked in and like, dude, and I went in my head and go, it must be a white rapper thing because it's not the only time I've walked in to people's creative space, especially people that are white rappers. Because I had the same thing. Like when I had that spot in Lakeland, did you come to my house in Lakeland?
No, I never did.
Okay, so
you didn't invite me. That's cool, bro. Yeah, go ahead.
I had a whole spot. It was upstairs. It was creative. I had like a podcast studio, but also had the office, and then I had all my childhood Transformers.
Yeah,
like all out.
That's fire, bro.
Basketball, man. And you have like the original Dream Team.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro.
MJ, who else?
Yeah, Scottie Pippen,
Larry
Bird,
Larry Bird,
David Robinson, Charles Barkley,
Magic Johnson.
Who else, Jeff? Who you got? Yep, Magic Johnson, John Stockton.
That was the team.
John Stockton.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley.
Christian Laettler, randomly thrown in there because he had the last second
That should
shot.
have been Shaquille O'Neal.
That would have been crazy. I don't know if he was he a rookie back then?
Yeah, he was. He would have. Because Christian Laettler was as well, and they picked Christian Laettler because of the Duke success. But Shaq came out at the same time. They could have put Shaq on that team. He should have been on that team.
Yeah, bro. This is new. Speaking of Shaq, I got the old school Shaq attack.
I see it.
So I'm
Go out
just
there.
saying.
Go out there, play hard, Taco Bell, Reebok.
Shaq attack. I want to play basketball like that. All right, sorry.
So years of doing music. I met you through another artist that you were working with at the time, and I was like, man, dope. I was like, man, what's going on with Florida? Because we reside in Florida. Shout out to Florida.
Boys,
yes. Flow grown.
Represent.
Yeah, but it was years, and then Gus story. Not to, hit that story back again, but as me and Gus got connected, I would always hear Gus's name over the years, like through artists. Like especially this artist we were talking about because he used them all the time. I'm like, who's this Gustavo guy? I was like, who is this guy?
Got those fire visuals.
Shooting these videos, I'm like, who is this? And I think Pablo from Group One Crew mentioned Gus, and so anyway, small world. When you do this stuff, you kind of know. And then I get back from Texas, 2022, start going to this church, and Gus resides in the church. And I'm like, you're Gustavo. Okay,
there he is.
That's crazy.
the myth, the legend.
So what's been going on, man? I mean, we were kind of catching up, and you're doing a lot, man. Just a lot of different things, man.
Yeah, man, working hard. So still doing music. I am still. That feels really good to say, actually. The music industry can be pretty brutal, as we all know. And still doing music. I got a new album coming out this year. It's called Let It Be, and I start releasing singles on February 28th.
Nice.
So still doing it. My heart, we talked about this a little bit off camera. My heart was always kind of the ministry side of things. In fact, even on I run things through a nonprofit organization, and our mission statement is to reach just one more with the love of Christ. And so that's kind of the mission that has driven me and like kept me alive after all these years. I'm like, just one more. If we can reach one more people with the same message that transformed my life, then all the ups and downs of the music business is worth it to me. And so that's what's kept me alive for all these years. I've been doing it for a long time, and I got saved in 2005.
Wow.
And started doing music out of nowhere. And so God has blessed it far beyond my wildest dreams or imaginations. Just don't despise small beginnings, people. Just be faithful in the little. God's got you. Woo. And he's literally sent me all over the world and taken my music far beyond what I ever thought was possible. And I also do a lot of music for TV and film now. Started a business. I have 4 children. We got a lot of bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. My son's 9, and that man eats more food than me. So, yeah, bro, we got some bills. We got 2 dogs. Yeah. Got to pay the bills, y'all. Yeah. So,
you got the skills to pay the bills.
Yeah, trying to, bro.
You got the skills to pay the
bills. That's $350 right there. Take my money. Take my money,
Happy
bro.
birthday, Roy Tosh.
Fire cameo.
Yeah, bro.
Just send me that. Edit the clip. Send me the cameo. We're done, bro. Yep, that's how this podcast is starting.
Do you have a cameo account?
I don't, bro.
You should, man. Make that $5 hustle. Happy birthday, Julia. TikTok. Roy Tosh.
Bro, I need to get into it now. I'm like, this is low-key a genius business idea, bro.
Cameo, it's actually an app.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I've never even thought about it.
It's cash flow, bro. Cash flow.
Y'all want a birthday shout out? I'm about to join Cameo after this podcast. Hit me up at Roy Tosh Music, please.
You see people on Cameo and you realize, like, man, it must be rough. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to judge, but you see these guys on Cameo and you go, man, something happened. You got this guy that was like in movies. You got these guys in movies. He's sitting there, right? And he's like doing birthday shout outs to Julia in Kansas City somewhere. Julia, happy birthday. It's your favorite actor.
Shout out to Julia. Oh, gosh, bro. Jeff's making me sweat. I apologize in advance for dripping sweat on this podcast, y'all. That's hilarious, man.
That's why we like it here, man.
So I won't be joining.
We keep it light, fun.
So you go back to something you said about the music industry. You said something about the music industry, and we like to a lot of our mission, not to age discriminate against myself, but it's like to pass down the mantle of like just really mentoring, discipling creatives in the space. And we can go there. We don't have to go there, but like you brought something up about the music industry. Like it was kind of like, the music industry. Yep. So if there's someone coming up, a new artist or a creative that is just trying, they got this thing that God's called them to do, what kind of advice would you give them being like 20 years plus into this thing?
Yeah, bro. So that's one thing I love talking about. And honestly, that's kind of my heartbeat. Even like I mentor a young and upcoming artist, Caden Jordan. And I started mentoring him at age 13. We went to a Edgewater Children's Ranch here in Orlando. Smaller concert, like they work with a lot of troubled kids. And this dude is looking like Justin Bieber over there. And I'm like, bro, who is this guy? And his dad was here. And he's like, of course, that's my son. He's got bars. And so I listened to his song. And I'm like, yo, you want to open for me real quick?
I know who you're talking about now.
You know Caden?
Because like Tim from Why Hot.
Tim from what?
Why Hot. The 80.3.
Oh yeah. He's interning. He's about.
Tim, he didn't mean that. He knew what Why Hot was. I'm just saying.
What? Hot 95.9, bro. What is Why Hot?
Isn't Why Hot the station call letters for the station there?
I don't know about station call letters.
I'm
about Hot 95.9, Tim. That's what I know about. I love me some Tim. Right? Tim's actually a fantastic guy. Don't rabbit trail me. I'm getting like, bro. Caden Jordan. Back to the story, y'all.
Hey, is that Michael Jordan?
Go get him. Bring him on the camera, bro. Bring the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Get the G.I. Joes as well. Get the Ninja Turtles. Let's get it over with.
Is that Luca?
Yeah, Luca. Off to L.A. now. I have no idea what I was talking about.
Oh, you're talking about your heart.
Caden. Okay, yeah.
Caden, yeah.
Mentor.
So yeah, like I poured into this kid for like 2 years. We didn't talk about music. Like I'm like, music will come. I know you got a gift. You're fire. Like he opened for me at this concert. He brought more energy than. In fact, I got on stage and I was like, I want to apologize in advance. I'm a dad. And that was the headliner. I'm just here to serve y'all. I'm not gonna do all that. He was up there doing like flips and all this, not literal, but like so much energy, bringing that 14-year-old energy. And I'm like, nah, bro, I'm tired. My baby kept me up all night last night. I'm trying to go home and sleep. But anyways, I'm huge on. Back to your question. In all seriousness. There's a very dark side to the industry, and a lot of times, even on the Christian side, a lot of times it's business first, Jesus second.
Come on.
And I was kind of innocent and kind of pure-hearted. I have plenty of issues. I'm not perfect. I'm not the standard. But coming into the industry, I genuinely just wanted to tell people about Jesus. And you peer behind the curtain of the industry, and even people I looked up to. And I'm just like, oh, man, okay, what are we doing here, guys? Like, it's different. And so anyways, I'm huge on fighting to keep the main things main and actually staying in love with Jesus. Not that that is a difficult thing to do, right? So we can't be lone rangers, and there shouldn't be any lone rangers, especially if you want to have an influence in the kingdom of God. If you're really trying to storm the gates of hell, you got a red target on your back, and the enemy's going to come and try to, he's patient as well. He will take his time, and he knows your story, and he will come right for your weak spots. And so we don't have to fear that, right? Greater is he that's in us. But we also should never be isolated. When we're isolated, we are done for. And so I've always been big on keeping mentors around me, men and women much more mature than me in the faith. And by God's grace, I've had some day ones in my circle that call me out, that check me when I need to be checked in love. And I'm not an island to myself, like, and having those things through the ups and downs of all the wounds I've taken, of all the dark moments in my life, of all the trials and hardships. I would not be here today if it weren't for, I'm gonna start crying, bro. If it weren't for the men that God has placed in my life, and it's an honor to be able to do music, but to me, like, they're the superstars. Yeah. Like, they're going to get way more reward in heaven than me. Like, they have been, there through thick and thin. And so I would say you have to put in place a system that builds a strong foundation, because the storms will come. Come on. It's just a matter of when. When are they going to come? And so you have to have the character, and you have to have the people around you to withstand the storms when they come. Even like little stuff, like there's so many frustrations in the artist's life of like, why isn't my music popping yet? Why am I not on this tour? Why am I not doing this? Like, you need like people that are going to talk to you about humility and patience and waiting and trusting God and not taking things into your own hand, and like on and on and on it goes. So people you can do life with, and people that know the real you, right? Anyone can manufacture an image on camera. Like, I could be the nicest guy here today. Y'all know me, right? Y'all know my life behind scenes. But like, that's what I'm talking about, right? Your artist life should be an extension of who you really are behind scenes. Good. And that only happens if we're truly accountable and in godly community behind scenes when no one's watching. And so that's what I mean by the main things, right? The gifting that God gave me, and all this influence, and the songs. I've had #1 songs. I've had all this stuff. I can genuinely enjoy those moments of success, because they're not the main things. Having a relationship with Jesus is the main thing. And that's the only thing that truly brings lasting satisfaction. Yeah. And those moments come and go, right? Like opening for, I remember the first time I met Lecrae, open for Lecrae, I was like on cloud 9. But my mentors prepared me like, yo, this is just a man. This is a moment. Like God has called you to specific things. No one can do what God has asked me to do.
Come on.
I can't do what God has called you to do. I can't do what God has called you to do. Each of us have a unique calling from God. And I think that's where we find our fulfillment in life, where we live to be faithful, not famous, or we live to truly accomplish God's will for our life. And man, there's so much purpose and fulfillment and hope in that. And not grasping for the things in this world, right? Like they come and go. It's so much emptiness here. It's like, bro, if I got Jesus and my day ones, I'm good, bro.
That's right. Take us back to when you mentioned that your heart has always been towards the ministry side of it. Yeah, bro, man. Shine light on that, because I don't think too many artists speak on that. Either I mean, they all obviously all start like that, and then things happen and fame comes, and like, so your distraction, you know, now you're gravitating to something else. But go back to the foundation, right? Speak on it was always ministry first for you.
Yeah, man. So I was a wild, rebellious kid in high school, bro. I was living the college life in high school. My name was in the paper all the time. I played basketball. I got a full ride scholarship to play college basketball. And so all that went to my head. And I'm like, this is back in Indiana, too. I'm an Indiana boy. I moved here. I've been here for a long time now. But born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is a basketball state. So it was like a big deal. We were number one in the state even on some of the rankings my senior year. And I got to play in the Jermaine O'Neal All-Star game back in the day when J.O. was on the Pacers, and play in Conseco Fieldhouse. It's Bankers Life Fieldhouse now. But anyways, like that was kind of who I was. And I got to the point where I'm living like everything that the world says is what life is all about: drugs, alcohol, partying. I have all of that. And I'm empty and I'm depressed. I can't talk to my friends about it because like it's not cool, right? And I'm just living for other people's approval, trying to fit in and trying to find my way in the world. And I was so depressed that I ended up going to this family camp, and the guy was all about the kingdom and had a genuine relationship with Jesus. And he said, what kind of emptiness causes you to go back to the very things that are causing emptiness in your life? In other words, all these things like using sex as a drug to find fulfillment, using substance to kind of disappear, and all these things were causing emptiness. Why was I going back to the very things that were causing the emptiness? He says, everything that you're searching for is available, and it's found in a person, and his name is Jesus. And I'm like, Jesus, what you talking about, bro? Wow. And but I knew that he was right, and I knew that God had to be real, and I had nothing to lose. So he said, I dare you to get alone and cry out to Jesus. And so I knelt beside the computer there, and I surrendered my life to God. And what was crazy is I consider myself the worst of sinners. Like I went to a Christian school, and I was like the bad kid that led astray all the good kids. Like I was wild, like that was my reputation. And anyways, to think that's a snapshot of who God really is. We have all these distorted images of what he's really like. Well, what he's really like is the face of Jesus. Jesus is the human face of God, right? So everything about the life of Jesus, what he taught, what he did, that's a reflection of who God is, what God is really like. And so God accepted me openly, even though my sophomore year, I told him to get the mess out of my life because I looked at the church and I was like, that's a bunch of hypocrites. Truth be told, we're all hypocritical. We all got some hypocrisy in our lives, right? I don't live up to the standards I set for myself half the time, right? God looks past all that and he looks at our hearts. And so when that pastor said, I dare you to get alone and cry out to Jesus, he knew.
Yeah,
he knew that God's arms were wide open, and he was just waiting, right, to take me in. and he did. Copyright infringement. All right, so so I gave my life to Christ, and that's kind of where things started for me. Like I started to write songs after I gave my life to Christ. So everything was always about him. It was for him, and then I get radically saved. My life is like flipped upside down, and I'm going to all these concerts and stuff, and that's where Just One More came from. If I can reach just one more. And I knew through a tool like music can go all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And I can be right here in my studio, just chilling with my kids,
right,
and reaching millions of people, you know, from whatever, being a dad, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I was after from the get-go. And I've always tried to maintain that, and it has not been easy, just, you know, coming in encounters with different dark things in the music industry and seeing different stuff. Like you have to guard your heart from being jaded the higher up you go. And I'm a simple guy. Like all I wanted to do is to tell people about Jesus, to tell people God loves them. And what better way than to do that through music, man?
Yeah.
Like music is cross-cultural. Like, you know, I might get up on a stage, and as soon as I play that hip hop and pop music, the kids are just like, who's this guy? What's this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have the youth of the ears in a sense, and then you can use that to say, hey, this is why I'm here.
Come on, bro.
Like my life's been changed. Jesus is real. He's not a dead God. He rose from the physical dead to bring life to all the dead places in us.
Wow.
And what he's done in my life, he can do for anyone watching this. He's done in these gentlemen's lives. He's alive. He cares about us and he loves us. And it's always been about ministry for me. I haven't walked the walk perfectly. None of us do. But God's just been faithful. Like, that's my story. God is faithful.
Yes, he is.
Even in my faithlessness, like, he remains faithful and good. And I'm still here after all these years, trying to reach one more.
And I love that. I love that. And I also love that, you know, something I've learned in the past is a lot of just, you know, being a creator, being an artist, everybody thinks there's this worldly mindset. Like if you're defined as this is the only path to, you know, make revenue.
Right.
Right. And so what I like about your story, just, you know, catching up after all these years, is the fact that you found something else. You're talking about, you know, music, TV licensing, and film.
Yes, sir.
And you found something that brings home the bacon.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because life of an artist is like, it's based on what you got a label, you got this thing going. Yeah, there's some revenue that comes in, but like in these times, it's difficult to be on that path, not unless you're on the road all the time.
Yeah, bro. So, you got to be on tour.
Yeah. So, I love the fact that everybody feels like they have to be like in this, you know, this mentality of this is the only way it works. And a lot of creatives get discouraged, even believers, that if it's not popping the way it's popping,
Yep.
they feel like, well, I got to go work at Denny's, and they give up too soon.
Yeah.
But God's given you so many resources and giftings, and you're just not defined as this music artist. There's other giftings that he's given you. So maybe just share and encourage the young artists like, hey, dude, you know, look, I've got a TV film licensing company now. That's my job.
Yeah, man. So we were talking about this a little bit off camera, and there was a time where I had gotten wounded by some people in the industry, and there was a lot going on in my life at the time, and literally I almost gave up music. And it was just a really dark time for me, and I thought I was done. And so anyways, God brought everything back full circle. Like when I say I was done, I was legit praying prayers like, hey, your will be done, not mine. It's cool. Like, what do you have for me next, God? And shout out to Doc Watson, man, owner of RMG. He called me out of the blue when I was literally down in the trenches. And I'm trying not to tear up. But he's a great guy and genuinely cares about people. And I'm on RMG Amplify, for those of you who don't know. I love Doc. He's been a great guy. And he was there for me when really no one else was. And he was like, what are you talking about, bro? You're not done. You got so much more in you. And then so that encouraged me, and I was like, you know what? I do. And I don't need to be distracted by what's happened or what's been said. I need to be faithful to what God called me to do. That's success, right? Success is not a number one single. Success is, have you done what God asked you to do today? And the next day, and the next day. And guess what? If you fail one day, hey, his mercies are new the next. Get up, keep going, stay on mission, and God will take care of the rest. So I just got distracted because there was so much going on in my life at the time. And I'm human. I was really discouraged. And Doc was like, you got so much more. And then a couple weeks later, Daraj, I was in Daraj's wedding. That's my dude, day one right there. That's my guy.
That's my boy.
And Daraj had left RMG to go into sync licensing. And sync licensing, for those of you who don't know, is just when you take your music and you license it for TV and film to a motion picture. So that's a sync, right? You land a TV spot, and they pay big dollars for some of those spots, especially if you can get into the ad spaces or trailers or stuff like that. And so I was coming back to being on fire again, and I'm like, yo, I want to, God was using this to rekindle kind of my passion for him and passion for music, because all that had died, honestly. It was gone. And so God was restoring that. Daraj asked me to be in a group called Saint Society, and I invented a pseudo name just to keep things, because in the sync world, I did 70 records the first year I started doing sync licensing. Wow. 150 the next year, 100 the year after that.
Wow. That's work.
You can't do that in the artist life, right? You got maybe a 10-track LP that I'm about to drop. Shameless plug. It's called Let It Be. Wait for it, people. Okay. But so you can't do that as an artist. You gotta have a single, you gotta have a photo shoot, you gotta promote the single, you gotta have artwork, you gotta talk about the single. What's the story behind the single? You gotta share on social media, selfie videos, the whole nine, right? All that can go away. It doesn't have to, but it can in sync licensing. And so I found it to be very refreshing, because I was never chasing the spotlight to be I gotta be in front of the television all the time. I'm cool with playing the background, to be honest. I'm super chill. I don't need to be that guy. And so anyways, one thing led to the next. God kind of used Daraj to just as an open door to say, hey, there's other avenues. And now I've started a business, and haven't looked back. I do so much music for TV and film now. I'm with a group or a business called Sync Beast now. I'm constantly making music for TV and advertisements, and it's been very freeing, because I think a lot of times, even in Christian culture, there's this secular sacred divide. If you're a Christian artist, you have to make songs like this,
right?
And, I shout out to Lecrae. Lecrae, way back in the day when I opened forum, put me on to guys like Francis Schaeffer and Nancy Piercy, who talk about having a full, comprehensive Christian worldview. And so the secular sacred divide kind of goes away. And not to get too deep, so I felt convictionally okay with making music about sports. I played college basketball, that all or nothing Kobe mentality, bro, that was engraved in me. So it was so refreshing to me to be able to make songs about sports, or make songs about all these different areas that I feel I can contribute to, and feel that I'm absolutely bringing glory to God. Like that is just as glorifying to God as if I make an exegetical song about the book of Hebrews or something. You know what I'm saying? Like God uses it all. And just like he uses teachers, like my dad was a history teacher. He taught all parts of history, not just biblical history. And he would tie the Bible in and like throw little seeds in though, you know. So I feel like I'm doing the same thing with.
You went to Christian school though, right?
Yes.
So did they? Because when I went to Christian school,
not my dad though.
Yeah, they would say about history. They would say, and I was like, I never heard of it before. They would go, "It's his story." It's his. So they put like in my history books, they would put like biblical principles in there. Yeah, but I always remember that when people say history now, that always stuck with me. I go, his story.
Yeah, which it is, bro.
Bro, listen, Jesus said, "Be in the world."
Go ahead, bro.
You can't change what you avoid.
Yep.
The church has taught us to avoid the world. And Christ said, no, be in it, to be the light of the world.
Storm the gates
Come on,
of hell,
bro. Like we have, the kingdom infiltrates it. It doesn't avoid it. We engage it.
Man, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Because you still carry Christ inside your heart. You still carry the kingdom inside your heart.
Yep.
But your music, that's a tool. You said God glorifies God no matter what.
Yep.
But what if those people reach out to you personally and get to know your heart?
It's an evangelist.
Yeah.
It's an evangelist tool.
Exactly, bro.
It's awesome,
and
man.
that's the cool thing about it is I've been able to talk with a lot of people behind scenes, and I'm different. You get to know me. I'm different. I'm trying to actually follow Jesus. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man. And like I said, God has restored that gift, you know, that the enemy just tried to stomp out. And sync licensing was absolutely one of the things he used. And you bro, you hit it on the nail or whatever. There is not a lot of money in the music industry with streaming and stuff like that. And to make a good living, you have to be on the road 24/7, and you have to be selling merchandise. And those days for me, I have 4 young children, and every day that I'm on the road, I miss the little things. And so, yeah, that's not to say you can't do it, or I'm not throwing shade or anything like that. I just personally don't want to. I don't want to miss that stuff. Yeah. I know guys that have brought their families on tour. I think if I had those opportunities, I would be that guy. I'm like, nope, all y'all coming. We're not missing birthdays. We're not missing homework. Nope, I'm going to be here. And I really wanted to be a present dad. And so sync licensing has enabled me to be able to do that and still have the online reach where I don't have to be out on tour and chasing the latest, greatest thing with the artist life. And so I love it, man. It's been super dope.
It's awesome, man. Yeah, I just like the approach. You said something too that kind of stuck with me, because I'm always about honoring the people that's really spoken to my life, like as a creative. And I feel like sometimes the younger generation, they don't. I mean, Gus talk about this sometimes. Well, I probably talk more about it than Gus does, because I think Gus is my sounding board when I want to vent. He's like my best friend, and so
we need that.
Yeah, but I talk about that a lot, because you can't take the fight out of a young man or a young woman, and sometimes as I'm older, I'm like, man, and I have kids. They're all older. They're grown up, and you have this mentality of like, man, if you just would switch, but I got to let them be who they are to learn. But I love what you said about just honoring the people, because I was always the same way. Like, there's just people in my life, like they call. I haven't heard them for like 5 years. I'll pick up the phone and go, hey, what's up, bro? It's like, because they were used, God used them in my life in certain areas that I just like, man, if he was disobedient and would have went to the left or the right, my whole path would have been different.
Yep.
And I love what you said about just honoring these men of God, like honoring these people that were in your life, and you bringing up Doc Watson, these people, it's so, and that's, to me, that's the core of like discipleship. That's the core of, we talk about, we were clowning around with the cameras off, but like men's ministry, you're talking about men's ministry as core, is that core of honoring the, being a man and manhood in general, and being a believer. Man. It's powerful. Yep. And a lot of people, and a lot of young men, they can't process that yet, but because the world showed them something different. But when you honor, man, and it's just, dude, it is an amazing process, and you grow. Yeah, not just spiritually, but just as an individual. Like, you thrive in business, you thrive in the culture, you make a difference. It's amazing. That's what I saw, man. You were just talking, I was like, man, this guy's a blueprint.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? As like what a godly artist should be.
Yeah. Oh man, y'all better keep me humble.
No, I'm serious. I was just sitting here. I was like, oh
Thank
wow,
you,
man. You know, I was just hearing you speak, and I'm like, man, you know, and artists, they're all different, but
it flows from you, bro.
Yeah,
that's character. Your character flows when you talk. It's powerful, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, man.
And it goes back to those people. Like that's why I said when you ask me any advice, I always start with character.
Yeah.
Like you could be the most gifted individual, and bro, I've seen it too many times. You rise to fame, and then you become a spectacle when God exposes whatever it is He's gonna expose. And man, for me, it was never about building an image. Like I want to be the same person off camera that I am on camera. Like I don't want to manufacture an image. That's why even in my music, I'm like, no, I'm absolutely going to talk about my struggles because I know there's a million people out there that are going through the same struggles, and I'm not better. Like I'm a human.
Yeah.
Like there's no celebrity, like all that's got to die. And but again, I think, you know, having that accountability and having a strong circle around you is death to ego, right?
Yeah.
Because if I literally have had conversations with my mentors, even in starting my nonprofit organization. I asked them, what are the 3 biggest pitfalls for artists and ministers and all that stuff? It was, I probably won't even remember, money, sex, and something else.
Power.
Maybe power or pride or something, right? And so literally I'm like, okay, bet. Well, I got accountability. I'm going to be an open book. I'm going to tell on myself if I ever get into anything. Like, and then even in setting up the nonprofit, I had the attorney set it up so I had no say. Let's say the Lord just blows things up and all of a sudden we got a multi-million-dollar ministry, right? And all this money comes in. I have 0 say in what I can get as a salary. The board decides. I cannot vote. So like little stuff like that, where that's character to me. It's like, hey, my mentor would always say, you are who you are when you are at home. You are who you are when you are alone. Now, not to take full identity. We're still a child of God, right? When we stumble and fall, thank God He doesn't define us by what we do. We're defined by who He says we are. But that speaks to character, right? So yeah, I think you have to have that foundation, man. Anytime, if you want to be used by God, like read Billy Graham's autobiography.
Oh, so good.
Like, bro, the dude played no games.
Right.
Like, and sure, he wasn't perfect, but I'm just saying, like, his life is so inspiring. Like, he stayed the course, right? So yeah, you got to have character, man. I'm big on that. And anyways, I'm rambling.
That's awesome, bro.
You know, we talk about leaving a legacy, and you're on course of doing that as far as, you know, being a man of God and being a family man. Because a lot of people, it's disregarded. I love just hearing you speak and just like taking ownership like that. Hey, I'm a dad. I'm a proud dad. I got a wife. You know, I got a family, and that's my priority. And society today, you know, based on, you know, entertainment, they take the devalue that big time. They devalue it. They put it in the back burner. You know, that's wifey or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that I love it, bro. I love everything that's coming out of your mouth. I'm like, yes, you know, bro, because that's what we need. Like you're a generation changer, man. It's like this younger generation needs to hear that. They need to like, hey, being a dad is great. Being a husband is great. And being faithful, being loyal, you know, all that stuff, man, it's like, because, you know, we lived in a generation where things happen, people make mistakes, and a lot of the younger generation, they're out of broken homes. I mean, I've caused out of my children being a victim of divorce, you know, and there's repercussions of that. But they, you know, just hearing someone that is just doing everything the correct way and just like, dude, this is what it's about. It's not about being on a tour bus, you know, going from city to city and not knowing where you're at. And he goes, look, getting up in the morning and seeing cereal milk on the ground and Cheerios falling down. You know, it's inspiring to me because, you know what?
You're not going to wake me up at 6 a.m., son. Go back to bed.
Because I'm getting inspired hearing that because, listen, because I used to hear, man, I tell you, you know, I would hear these older guys speak, and I remember when Jacob was born, my firstborn, before he was born, I was freaking out. I didn't know anything. And I was probably at the time like 31, 32 years old. And I was in a men's group, and I said, I go, man, I don't know what to expect. What is this? I'm scared. And it just said, it's going to be the best day of your life. And you'll understand once you hold the baby in your hand, you understand God the Father's love for you.
Yeah, bro.
And I'm like, what? And then it happened. Yeah, and I was like, boom. I was like, oh, man. And then I had a whole new understanding what God's love truly is.
All the poopy diapers and all that.
Oh, bro.
But I hear that, and it's like, man, you're just in a great place, man. It's like even Gus, too, his two young boys. And it was something I could say is like, man, value those moments, because I did a lot, because when my kids were really young, I was like heavy in the music industry. I was gone a lot. And I wasn't, I was doing the artist thing, and I stopped, and I got fully into management and owned a label and stuff, and I was gone a lot.
Yep.
And just the fact I walked in your house, and even before we even started talking, I'm like, yeah, I was looking around, and I was like, I see the crayons and the chairs, and I see
it's all there,
and I see it, and it's like it's not masking. I go like, man, those are the best days of your life as a man.
Come on, bro.
And hang on to that, because I'm getting emotional saying it, because like, dude, it flies by so fast, man.
Yeah, man.
And dude, cherish those moments. Keep doing what you're doing, loving on those children, man. And it's like you'll look back when you're my age, like 52 years old, and go, man, those were the best days.
Wow.
Because they truly are. And you made the best decision you ever made in your whole life.
Bro, so this goes back. I've never shared this publicly, but again, my mentor, I remember when I had my first son. I have 4 children now, but my first son, I was still in the rat race of the artist life, and I'm like, kind of like low key mad at God, because I'm like, why am I not on these tours? Like I know what I'm capable of. My music is dope. Like I've worked with the best in the industry, fought to get the quality up. I'm like, Lord, send me, I'll go. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. Why am I at home? And he's a business owner, and he said, he talks real slow. He's like, Jeff, I'm telling you, I remember being in your shoes. And he gets on this old man spiel, right?
So and I'm like,
hurry up, bro, hurry up, come on. Got to get back to my son. And but he tells me this whole story of how when his kids were young, it's almost like the Lord like stripped away traveling and just said, no, you're going to stay right there. You're going to build your business, and these other people will go travel for you. And he said, I look back, and now he's traveling all over the place all the time once his kids were outside of the house. And he very simply said, I look back at those years, and he was like, I am so thankful to God that I was not on the road, and that I didn't miss anything. He was present. And so that, I think God provided the grace to be okay internally, because the artist life is hard. It's like, if you're not out doing all these things, you're like irrelevant, right?
Right.
And it's so it's difficult. And for me, there was that contentment again, which we talked about mentorship. Bro, I didn't know that. I needed someone that had already gone ahead of me to tell me those truths. And bro, God like enabled me to love being a dad and love being at home. Not that I didn't love my children. Of course I love my children. But when you're living the artist life, like, it can be so consuming. And so for me, God was like, no, I'm still going to use you, but what's more important, you being a present dad, or you telling strangers on a stage who will never know the real you about Jesus? Like, what's more important? And so for me, it was like, I need to disciple my kids. And not that my kids are going to be perfect or anything, but like, at least I can say I was present. I was there. You know what I'm saying? And so anyways, but again, I literally would not do that if I didn't have people in my life. Because I'm a very focused individual. And so again, we need those generational things. We need the generational wisdom. The youngins do. Bro, there are plenty of stumbling blocks out there. And when you talk about family, man, the enemy hates family. Enemy wants to divide and conquer marriages and the whole nine.
It's the number one target.
Yeah, bro. Yep. So, but there's nothing. I'll say this too. Like, I think our culture downplays family and being a dad and being a mom. There is nothing better than having your own family, having your own kids, and having your squad at home. Like, I love my family. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Right.
And just being able to be home, to work from home, God providing sync licensing to where I don't have to be on the road all the time. Bro, it's such a blessing. And so anyways, hopefully that encourages the youngins if y'all start popping out children.
Family first.
Which you can't, again, I don't want to throw shade to the tour life, because I think there are some artists that have done it with character. But I've also seen the dark side of that.
Yeah, you got to be called to it. You got to know your lane. You got to know. It's like I was saying, like the blueprint of the music industry. Do this to get this. But is that what God truly has for you? Is that the gifting that God's put on you? Are you truly an evangelist?
Yep.
Are you truly an evangelist that are called to the nations?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And there's a big difference. And I think that's why people, you talk about the turnover in the music industry, that's the biggest turnover in the music industry, is because they're sucked out of their true calling. They have like this gift, but their calling, you know, in the fivefold especially, they don't know where they fall in. If they don't fall in the fivefold, that's okay too. But they don't know, and they get put into a system where they're not really necessarily, they can thrive, because that's not where God wants them to be.
Right.
And that's what I love hearing these stories, like different artists, all different. Like your journey is inspiring, because it just shows it's like a different blueprint, and it's a godly blueprint, that it's not the norm. You know what I mean? Because the norm says, be on a tour bus, do this, and you have all these people. You go here, go do this, you're going to do this. And you're like, man, bro, it's like, you know, I don't even know where I'm at, you know? Right, bro. And that's what you, if you're not solid.
What city is this?
Yeah.
I announced the wrong city one time from the stage.
That happens.
I'm sorry, I was there last night. Where am I?
But that happens, man. It's like, you know, but just being, you know, just the path that you're on is truly remarkable. It's, you know, we need to, you know, it inspires me, because, you know, sometimes you know, me being called back to, you know, work with artists again, and, you know, as me and Gus, you know, started these companies, it's like, man, and, you know, just having conversations with the artists, you're like, oh, okay. But, you know, my perspective is different on it now, because I can see that there's hurt, there's wounded, and there's people that are wounded. I can see that, and I see God's love in it. I'm like, okay, they're gonna be all right. They just got to find where they need to be, right, and move them in that direction, and they'll be totally fine. Because most of them are just like, they're jaded. They're just hurt. Bro. They're jaded by this culture that's just destroyed them, you know, inside and out. And they're like, I love Jesus, but I'm so hurt right now. I don't even know where to go.
Yeah, I've been there, man.
So that's the culture we're trying to create. Even like when we do business, you know, it's ministry first for us. We want to build these generational companies that are just going to mentor, you know, people that have the same calling and do things, you know, because I knew that for me, and Gus can speak into this too. It's like when I was trying to do this stuff, you kind of gravitated towards people that were kind of doing the same thing, because that was your tribe. You didn't know. Yep. Someone help me. I don't know. I got all this stuff. I got all these songs inside me. I don't know what to do. And you go to your pastor, who's not gifted in that, right, and they go, well, you just, I don't know. Maybe you should join the worship team on the church and volunteer. And you go, wait,
You're not going to do hip hops. You're not going to do hip hop on the Sunday service. No. Yeah. Nope. Go to the youth group Wednesday.
So it's like we're not trying to, you know, start a church or anything. We're just trying to start a culture of, you know, for creatives, that they can be accepted and loved through the grace of Christ, and through this system where they don't have to go through the same crap that we went through.
Right. Yeah, man.
You know, and have like a path, like this story right here, the successful path like that is an attainable path. I can do that because you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and love it, bro. You got anything, Gus?
Yeah, no, I love everything you said, bro. You know, we typically on the show always love to give an opportunity to those who are listening. You know, because it's like you were presented the gospel once. I was presented the gospel once. And now we get to do that for others.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? And just invite them to the table, to the King's table, bro.
Yeah, man. One of the things I love about Christianity and about Jesus is that it's not about what we do. In fact, there's one word, and the word is grace. Grace separates Christianity from every other religion on the face of the earth. It's not about what we did. It is all about what Jesus did on your behalf. And the message of the gospel is simple. Jesus came. He lived the life that we never could. He died. He took our sins upon himself. And if you just call upon his name and you call out to Jesus and you turn away from sin and you receive him into your heart, you can literally start a relationship with God. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. So God gets to decide the way that we come. And God sent his one beloved son to die a gruesome death on a cross, to be crucified and rise from the physical dead, conquering sin's power, conquering death. Even one day when we die, we will not stay in that grave. We will rise as well and go to a real place called heaven if we've trusted in his name. And so all you have to do is to believe. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. That word believe is all about surrender. It's all about trust. It's about letting go. We as humans love to have control over things. We love to take the reins of life and say, no, I got this. But the truth be told, turn on the news tonight. Like, it's a broken world. And the Bible says that the root cause of that is man rebelling against God and sin entering in the world. And God loved us so much. He could have given us his wrath, right? But God instead chooses love. And he says, hey, I'm going to send my perfect son on your behalf. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to clean yourself up. You don't have to pray a perfect prayer. God looks at the heart and the thoughts and intents of our heart. And so back in 2005, when that pastor dared me to get alone and cry out to Jesus, that's exactly what I did. And I was the worst of sinners. So it doesn't matter what you've done. The enemy always tries to remind us like, oh, God won't forgive you. You did X, Y, Z, or God can't love you because someone abused you or they did this and that to you. All of that is to keep you from the presence of God and from a loving God who wants to heal those places in your heart. And so you can come as you are. You can come right now. You can literally be at home in your living room watching this on a computer screen. You could be wherever. You could be in a coffee shop. And God looks at our heart. And if you'll cry out to Jesus, the Bible says that you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, and then you'll be saved. So just cry out to him. In fact, I'm going to say what that pastor from Detroit said to me. I dare you, wherever you're at, to get alone and to cry out to Jesus, and he'll meet you wherever you're at, and he'll meet you right where you are. You do not have to clean yourself up. You don't have to change yourself immediately. God will give you all the grace and the power to change you from the inside out. So do that, please. It's the greatest decision you could ever make on earth. To cry out to Jesus and to surrender your life to him, to believe in who he is and what he did on that cross.
Woo! Woo! Let's
Welcome to the kingdom.
We're going to have a party. And the Bible says that angels are breaking it down up in heaven for one sinner who repents.
Come on.
Congratulations, sinners. I'm a sinner, and I repented.
That's right.
Heaven broke it down. I'm just saying. Congratulations, y'all. We love y'all.
Well, thanks so much for opening up your home, beautiful home. All the crayons and the seats and everything. I love it. It's beautiful.
Thank you, kids.
It really is. And man, outside of this, we're local, man. Let's reconnect, have lunch, and hang. Definitely.
Let's do it, bro.
So we'll catch you next time on the Kingdom Influence podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Love you, bro.
Love you guys.